Welcome everyone! Today we're diving into the live-action adaptation of One Piece on Netflix, comparing it to the original anime, and seeing if Netflix did justice to this iconic series. One Piece is this massive, beloved anime with a world so big and characters so wild, you wonder how anyone could even think about turning it into live-action. But Netflix took that challenge head-on, diving into territory where so many others have stumbled. Death Note, Cowboy Bebop, anyone? Fans had every reason to be skeptical, with anime adaptations not exactly having the best track record in live action. So, did Netflix manage to pull it off, or did it fall into the same pitfalls? Let's break down what worked, what didn't, and how they tackled bringing this larger-than-life series to a new format. The casting choices. Netflix's big gamble. So let's kick things off with the casting. Arguably one of the biggest concerns going into Netflix's One Piece. Fans were on edge. Could they really find actors who embody the wild energy of the Straw Hat crew? Iñaki Godoy as Monkey D. Luffy is kinda like Netflix's way of saying, don't worry, we got this. He's got that chaotic optimism Luffy is known for, the same reckless adventurer spirit. Iñaki nails that youthful, almost childlike exuberance, but also brings a bit more humanity to the role than the anime sometimes shows. It's not an exact replica, but it's close enough to feel right. It's kinda like how Tom Holland nailed Spider-Man, not exactly like the comic, but it works. Then there's McKinyu as Zoro. Zoro in the anime is this serious guy with a side of unintentional humor, and the live action gets that. McKinyu plays him with this perfect blend of stoic intensity and just enough charm to keep it from being too heavy. Speaking of Sanji, Taz Skylar completely nails the smooth-talking, kick-throwing cook with a side of flirtation, though Netflix keeps it from going too overboard. Jacob Romero's Usopp is another win, bringing the perfect mix of cowardice and bravery, while still keeping Usopp's wild stories and nervous energy intact. And don't even get me started on Emily Rudd as Nami. Nami is all about layers, sharp, smart, but with deep emotional baggage. Emily brings that, though Netflix kinda speeds through her backstory, which, well, we'll get to that later. Even the side characters add a surprising amount of depth. Morgan Davies gives Kobe a heartfelt drive, Jeff Ward leans fully into Buggy's twisted, creepy vibe, and Vincent Reagan commands the screen as Garp, bringing a no-nonsense, ruthless energy that really sticks. Luffy's stretchy powers, CGI versus anime. Luffy's gum-gum powers are central to his identity as a pirate. In the anime, his rubbery abilities give the creators the freedom to go wild with action scenes. Luffy can stretch his limbs in ways that defy logic and physics, and because it's animated, it works without feeling out of place. But in live action, this is where things get tricky. The CGI used to show Luffy's stretching powers is decent, but it's hard to make it look as fluid and fun as it does in the anime. There's a bit of awkwardness to the way it comes across on screen. It doesn't feel quite as natural or exaggerated as fans of the anime might expect. The anime has advantage of being able to push reality to its limits, whereas live action has to deal with the constraints of making these powers look believable in a more realistic world. In the anime, Luffy's fighting style is a combination of ridiculous and innovative. He uses his powers in ways that are both hilarious and surprisingly strategic. Netflix's adaptation tries to replicate this, but with a more grounded approach. The stretchy punches and kicks are still there, but they don't quite capture the same level of wackiness. It's like watching a superhero movie versus a cartoon. There's always going to be a trade-off between realism and the fantastical elements that animation allows. The world building, condensing the Grand Line. The world of One Piece is vast, colorful, and filled with bizarre islands, creatures, and cultures. Each new arc introduces a completely different setting, from desert kingdoms to sky islands, and the anime fully leans into the insanity of it all. The Grand Line, the sea where all the action takes place, is known for being unpredictable, with its islands governed by their own unique laws and ecosystems. Translating that to live action was always going to be a challenge, but Netflix gives it a solid shot. The set design is impressive, with locations like the Baratier, the floating restaurant, and the Going Merry ship brought to life with amazing detail. However, live action naturally has its limitations. The scale feels smaller than the anime, whereas everything is dialed up to 11. In the anime, the world of One Piece feels limitless. There's always some new wild island to discover or some gigantic sea creature lurking in the depths. The live action tries to capture that sense of adventure, but there's an unavoidable shrinkage in scale. Some of the grandiosity is lost because it's harder to make everything look as expansive and outrageous as the anime allows. Another thing to consider is the fantastical elements. In the anime, things like talking animals, superhuman abilities, and gravity-defying ships don't feel out of place because the whole world operates on its own internal logic. But in live action, these elements can feel a bit jarring. Netflix tones down some of the more outlandish aspects, which helps ground the story in reality, but it also removes some of the magic that makes One Piece so fun to watch. Pacing. Faster doesn't always mean better. The One Piece anime is infamous for its slow pacing. With over 1,000 episodes, it takes its time to develop characters, build relationships, and set up its grand story arcs. Some fans love this about the anime. It allows for a deeper emotional connection with the character, and gives space for every story beat to really land. But this also means you can spend an entire episode watching characters prepare for a battle, or just talk about their plans. Netflix's live-action version takes a much faster approach, condensing major arcs into just a few episodes. While this helps keep the show moving at a brisk pace, it also means that some of the emotional depth gets lost in translation. Take Nami's backstory, for example. In the anime, her betrayal and eventual redemption is a long, drawn-out process that spans many episodes. You really feel the weight of her decision to betray her friends, and the relief when she finally asks for Luffy's help. In the live-action, they kinda rush through it to get to the big moments. It's like skipping straight to the good parts of a book. You get the highlights, but you miss the slow burn. This faster pacing isn't necessarily a bad thing. It makes the live action more accessible for viewers who aren't ready to commit to hundreds of episodes. But for longtime fans of the anime, it can feel like the show is rushing through some of the most important moments without giving them the space they deserve. Humor. Toning down the goofiness. One Piece is hilarious, and not in a subtle way. The anime thrives on slapstick humor, ridiculous facial expressions, or just pure wackiness. Luffy's dumb grins, Usopp's over-the-top lies, Zoro's bad sense of direction, it's all part of the charm. Translating that to live action? Not so easy. Netflix tries, but live action can only go so far without tipping into pure camp. Some of the jokes land, especially between Usopp and Luffy, but others feel a little flat. It's not bad, it's just that the anime's goofiness is hard to replicate when you're dealing with real actors. The live action plays it a bit safer, leaning more into the drama and toning down the cartoonish humor that One Piece fans are used to. Fight choreography, keeping it grounded. If there's one area where Netflix's adaptation really shines, it's the fight scenes. One Piece is known for its wild battles where anything goes. Zoro fighting with 3 swords, Luffy punching someone from 20 feet away, it's all a part of the madness. Netflix manages to keep the fights grounded while still giving us the action-packed choreography we crave. Zoro's sword fights are especially well done. They feel real and intense, but still maintain that touch of fantasy. The live-action version is less chaotic than the anime in terms of fighting, but the choreography is tight, and it delivers the kind of high-energy combat fans want to see. It's a good balance between realistic and the ridiculous. The heart of One Piece: friendship and dreams. At its core, One Piece is about friendship, loyalty, and the pursuit of dreams. The anime emphasizes this constantly, showing how the Straw Hat Pirates come together as a family, fight for each other, and chase their individual goals. The live-action adaptation does a good job of capturing this theme. Luffy's determination to find the One Piece and become the Pirate King is still front and center, and the bond between the crew feels genuine. Key moments, like Zoro's declaration of loyalty to Luffy or Sanji's emotional farewell to his mentor Zeph, are handled with care in the live action. These are the scenes that hit hardest for fans of the anime because they're the moments where the characters' motivations and emotions come to the surface. The live action doesn't shy away from these emotional beats, and while the pacing might rush some of the build-up, the payoff is still satisfying. Final thoughts: a different kind of adventure. So where does that leave us? Netflix's One Piece is a different beast from the anime. It's faster, more grounded, and a little less wacky. It doesn't hit all the same notes as the original, but it's not trying to be a carbon copy either. It's more like an alternate take, a new adventure that still holds on to the core of what makes One Piece great. Some fans might prefer the endless, sprawling nature of the anime, while others might appreciate the tighter, more focused approach of the live action. At the end of the day, both versions are telling the same story, just in different ways. Whether you stick with the anime or dive into Netflix's adaptation, the spirit of One Piece is still alive and well. And that's a wrap. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did Netflix's One Piece live up to your expectations, or fall flat?